Hello, this is Steer, and welcome to another video. Today we're doing, reading another chapter of Hermitcraft. Freedom, a Clockwork Chronicles story based on my Clockwork Chronicles universe with Minecraft YouTubers. In this case, Hermitcraft. Obviously, you're in Hermitcraft. But, of course, this is fan-made. It's not based on anything that the Hermits are doing right now. There might be references, but any lore-related things, not involved at all. So, don't worry about it. You do not have to read these to watch the videos and all that stuff. You don't have to read them all. Of course, you might have some confusion about what is happening. Feel free to ask questions if you need to. But I try to make sure you know what you need to know if it's important. So, yeah. Let's get right into it. Because there's a lot of videos, a lot of books. I don't expect anyone to go through it all. Of course, you can, but I'm not expecting it. Let's begin. Kate let the darkness surround her, and she tried to keep her mind quiet. Still, she needed to focus. She had to try and see if she could do it. She had to know what was happening. Were the rescue team having any luck finding the hideout? What were the men doing to her friends? If it was anything like what she'd already seen, she was already dreading what she might find in his mind. What if this didn't work? She shook the question from her mind. It would work. It had to. She needed to know what was happening to see if she could find a way to help them. Would she be able to manipulate other dreams like Gerald could to his hosts? She had to see what she could do. You not think I can't hear you, child? The cold, familiar voice filled her mind. Kate tensed. I know what you want. Then give it to me. Gerald chuckled. It's never that simple. What are you doing to my friends? Kate replied firmly. Ah, now you're asking the right questions, Gerald mused. And why do you think I'd tell you? I know how you are. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your compassion for your friends. An image appeared in her mind, and she sucked in a breath. Before her was Stampy, on his knees, arms bound behind him. He was looking up at her, bold and defiant, unafraid. The image faded as another appeared. Kate squirmed as she saw Impulse's pale face before her. His eyes were closed, but he wasn't moving. She spotted a glint of metal, noticing a dagger in the viewer's hand. No! Leave him alone! Kate insisted, clenching her fist, her fingernails biting into tender skin. You better come stop me then, Gerald snickered. I have them all, and I have no problem making that cat and those boys watch as I take every one of their lives, slowly and painfully. You wouldn't dare, she growled. Would I? I've done it before. Gerald said smugly. How many of my enemies have watched as I slowly drained the life of one of their friends until there was nothing left? Squid. Green's face replaced Impulse's. His eyes swollen with tears. A hand rested on his cheek, the dagger just under his chin. Green's bottom lip trembled. Kate flung her eyes open, springing from the couch she'd been sitting on, heading for the adult bedroom. Joel! Joel, I need you! Something crashed in the other room as the hermit appeared a moment later. What is it? Is everything okay? They've been captured. Tears filled the girl's eyes. Joel rushed forward to stand beside her. This Victor has had them. He's going to hurt them. We have to do something. Hang on, Joel said firmly, holding her by the shoulders. What exactly did he show you? Stampy and Bolson Korean, the girl sniffed, wiping tears from her eyes. I have to go. I have to stop them. Joel frowned before nodding. Let me call for backup. We're clearly going to need it. There's no time, and Bolson's already pretty badly hurt, and Green's terrified. Whatever Connor is planning to do, it's happening now. I can't just sit here and let this happen. Kate, wait! Joel reached for her as she tore from his grip, bolting for the back door. She could hear him calling out for her as she slammed the door open, struggling to pull on her wings as she ran. Kate! Joel shouted from behind her. The girl yelped as the hermit grabbed her by the arm. You can't run off without someone going with you. Kate shook her head, hearing Gerald's chuckle in her mind. She had to do this alone. She didn't know how she knew, but she knew. No, someone needs to stay here to keep the hermits safe. Joel tightened his grip on her arm. Excuse me. Kate, please. Listen to me for just 1 second. His brown eyes were filled with concern as he crouched closer to her level. You know how dangerous these people are. You can't go there alone. You can't fight them all, even with your heightened abilities. You don't know what you could be walking into. What about... Let me get in touch with the other hermits. We're going to need more manpower than just the two of us, Joel said simply. Won't you come inside with me so we can call them together? Kate's heart raced as she nodded, reluctantly. Joel sighed in relief before letting her go of her arm. She looked up at him before pulling out her rockets. I'm sorry. Kate, don't! Joel lunged for her, but the girl was already off into the sky, ignoring the hermit's calls for her to come back. She couldn't shake the feeling that something bad was happening, because it was. Gerald had told her. She needed to stop this, even if it meant taking some risks. Oh, 1 minute. Dust in my eye. Ugh. Kate spotted the structure she was looking for. A small stone cave entrance with a few man-made details on the outside. If she hadn't known any better, she probably wouldn't have thought twice about it. Somehow she knew, deep down, that this was where she would find her friends. She landed on the damp grass, looking up at the sky, which was now clouding over with dark, heavy nimbus clouds. Storm was on its way. Hopefully it doesn't rain on the way back. She put away her wings, donning a diamond chest plate. It was better to be safe than sorry. The entrance was empty, no sign of Carter's men there. She walked over to the front entrance and pushed it open, surprised that it was unlocked. Wary, she extended her diamond sword. Something about this didn't seem right. She went down a set of stairs, deeper and deeper, before she arrived at the bottom. Images of her friends flashed periodically in her mind, warning her that time was running out. There was no time to find out where the other guards were. She'd deal with them if she had to. She stomped down the hall, tracing her eyes across each door, trying to determine which one her friends would be in. Suddenly, she heard a muffled cry of pain ahead, and her heart skipped a beat. She raised her sword, running toward the sound, pushing a door open, storming into a room. Her eyes widened as she took in the brightness. False and the boys were held in a cell at the far corner of the room. 3 figures nearby on their knees. Scott, Dan, and Stampy. Conover and Richard stood by a machine before her eyes moved to the 2 stone chairs on the other side of the room. Her face warm, scorching hot. She saw Sharp looming over her Korean, the dagger right up against the hermit's left cheek. She could hear Green's muffled sobs. Leave him alone, Sharp, Kate demanded, raising her sword, or I'll cut you to pieces like you did to my friends. The Sharp chuckled as he looked up. turning his head to the girl. I knew you'd come. You shouldn't be here, Stampy said quickly. They want to use Viva's machine to recreate Gerald. With your blood. Kate whispered before she yelped as the door behind her slammed open. She whirled around, scrambling out of the way, as a couple of men lunged in her direction. I wouldn't try to fight, Caitlin, Sharp warned, as Kate backed up, the two soldiers keeping in step with her. Kate looked over and gasped. Sharp was holding the dagger now at Green's throat. Herman let out a tiny whimper. No! Kate charged toward him, shouting in surprise as something spherical smashed against her back. She tumbled to the ground, pinned to the floor by a third guard she hadn't seen. Let me go! You can't do this! Oh, but I think we can, Richard smirked, crossing his arms as Kate was pulled to her feet. The girl struggled against her captor's grip. Don't struggle. It'll be better for you that way, a voice whispered into her ear. She tensed. Sure, she hissed, stomping her foot hard on the man's foot. The man grunted in pain, but held firm. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think it would help you, Kate. Her father said gently into her ear. This isn't going to help anybody, she snarled. You're going to kill us all if this works. Well, the YouTubers will be dead, her father said simply. I hate you. She snarled again at Robert shoved her into a stone chair in the machine, strapping her wrists into place before pulling out a long syringe. I need to take some blood for the system, Robert said simply, pricking her arm with a syringe. Kate winced, looking over in horror as she saw her blood flow into the object. Robert stepped back, turning to Richard. This enough? Plenty. Now put it into the splitter so we can separate her blood from his. Then get it into the system. Should take 5 minutes. Robert glanced back over at his daughter before he nodded. Stepping down from the platform, the glass door slid shut behind him, trapping her inside. She scowled, watching her father march over to the control panel and place her blood into another gadget. She will be okay after the experiment, right? Robert pressed, his voice muffled by the glass. Of course, Conover said matter-of-factly. We've done every precaution to ensure everything runs smoothly. Your daughter may need time to recover, but she should be fine after the extraction. Extraction? Staffy straightened, his green eyes turning to the man. Oh, yes, the modifications I told you about, Conover mused, turning to the others. The splitter is providing a sample of Gerald's DNA separated from the girl's, and inserting it into the machine to replicate. It may hurt a little, he turned to the girl. I'm sorry about that. Not much I could do. Get away with this, Dan said defiantly. Those at the fortress will notice she's gone and go find her. And who exactly will do that? Richard rose an eyebrow. If the robots did what we asked, the hermits and their protectors would be out of commission. The bots were only ordered not to attack Kate. What? Kate gasped, her mind immediately going back to the fight. Impot had pushed her aside to go after P-Dubs. It hadn't attacked Haley and Eliza, perhaps because she was with them. Possible? Yet Greenbot had stopped when she asked it to listen. Was that because it was part of its programming? There are ways to get help, Dan said confidently. I wouldn't underestimate the power of friendship. Richard snorted. Oh, believe me, I know. Kate squirmed against her restraints, but she knew it was no use. These cuffs were firm on her wrists. She couldn't even wiggle around. She looked around the machine around her. She looked at the machine around. I don't know what to say without systems. Noticing wires and cupboards. What were in the cupboards? What do you actually think you'll gain from this? Blake demanded. Do you really think this bot will listen to you after what happened to the other two? Once it knows you can attack you, you're dead. There's nothing stopping it. It's true, Kate said, raising her voice. I once told the bots Once I told the boss they could stop you, they did just that. Interesting, Conover mused, walking over to the glass. You must have thought you were so smart, weren't you? She's a lot smarter than you'll ever be, Scott said. Conover whirled around. What did you just say? Scott only shrugged. The machine is ready when you are, Richard stated simply. Right, then we best get on with it, Conover said, straightening. You'll get to meet your new interrogator very soon. No, Korean said shakily, his soft voice barely audible through the glass. Kate looked over at him, reading his dark eyes. Sharp stood beside him, his hand gripping the hermit by the shoulder. The dagger was at his side. The hermit looked so small compared to the large man. Kate jumped as the machine came to life around her. She looked up, seeing the flashing redstone lamps above as the gears started to turn. She gasped when something small pricked her skin, stabbing her arms. She gritted her teeth, waiting for something to happen. First, nothing did, until she started to see black dots in her vision. Why did she feel so lightheaded? Kate, are you okay? Robert frowned. Kate felt so unbelievably cold, like the life was being sucked out of her. It didn't hurt, it just felt numb, empty. Kate! Kate blinked blearily, her eyes growing heavy as the darkness consumed her vision. She heard her father shouting, heard Green crying out in alarm, and the gasps of her other friends. Soon, the darkness took over her. The ringing in her ears stopped. Everything stopped. And there we will end the video. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around for this chapter. A few more left on Hermitcraft Freedom. And then we move on to the next storyline, which I am still working on. So, yeah, stay tuned with something fun. That's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one, whenever that might be. Goodbye.